Hello everyone, this is Darwell20, and welcome to episode 61 of Darwell20's Let's Play of FTV Evolution, where today I'm enchanting things. We're going to do this very little, mostly off camera, but I want to at least show you what the pattern looks like so you know what we're doing. Basically, toss this in here, get some cool enchants, or less cool, like Bane of Arthropods 10. Nobody cares that much about that. But then do it again. And oh, look, sharpness 7. That's pretty cool. Looting 6. Not too shabby, right? Now, eventually, we'll wind up getting some cool stuff. And that's for the, less common-y type stuff, right? The less rare one. This is the less common one, right? And I made this table thing a little larger so I can easily come over here and just be like, boom, and then get the rare enchants, like apparently soul looting. Right? Now this is going to tell you like one of the things you get, but like we get a bunch of cool stuff, right? Knowledge of the ages, all kinds of good things. Super cool. Oh yeah, looting 7. Booyah. What's the top level of looting here? Looting 8. So the trick with this, by the way, first off, the trick is, why don't I have any power? I bet it's because we're out of power up here. Are you empty, Mr. Power Battery thing? ME storage cell? No, we have like a lot of energy. So why export bus? Maybe I should have been more careful with that. You should totally be doing the Neo thing. Do you need to be told that power can go in anywhere at once? I don't think so. It's just power is always available, right? Do you need more acceleration-y? No, you have acceleration cards, you have FE, you have books. Sometimes I remember, like, if you're not able to make the books because we don't have enough, I bet that's what it is. It's because we're out of books. AE does this sometimes, where, like, the first thing it can't insert, so, like, it's like, I'm not trying anymore. I can't find a book to put in there, so, speaking of, I guess that means that we should probably increase our sugarcane production, because what we got going currently ain't good enough. We could do something garden cloche. We could do something more sugarcane, or we could do something a different way to make paper. Like we could do paper from sawdust and a water bucket, and we could do sawdust probably from. Can we just crush it, or do I have to go get a sawmill? Looks like I have to go get a sawmill. Macerator. Me. Looks like there's only one sawdust. And then the sawmill from productive trees could potentially make it. The precision sawmill will make it. Is there anything that like just makes the sawdust with no excess? Because it would be cool if like I could throw planks in there. It's interesting. I'm guessing I can't just throw planks in there and get, well, sticks. Sticks can turn directly into sawdust. So I could like craft sticks, run them through precision sawmill, 1-to-1 the sawdust, and call it a day. That could be fun. What other book options do we got? Aside from, normal stuff, any like fancy stuff? Meh. 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 Nope. So it's really all about the paper, which we can get. There's bark, but I assume that's like not going to be as easy to do as the other one. So sawdust is really kind of your best bet. Now that's interesting. That's a very different sawdust recipe, isn't it? It's like, oh, I can use 4 sawdust and water to make 2 paper, or I can use 3 sawdust to make 6 paper. There is no downside to that recipe. That is 100% better in every way, which is funny to me. And then you could just, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the same. So I'm thinking that's the route we take. So let's get a precision sawmill. Been a while since we made one of these, I assume. Right? And then tier upgrade, bing, bang, boom. Tier green. I guess you could make 3 of those and just balance out with the other ones we have. Cool. And then cable green, for some reason I'm still using over there. There you go. And then, oh my goodness, auto sort on. And then we'll do something like pattern provider. I don't think we need a fancy one, just a regular one. Right? And then we can do sawdust courtesy of sticks. Which, ironically, we don't know how to make sticks. So if we need to know how to make sticks, now we know how to make sticks. I guess we've never needed to make sticks because, in fairness, I'm pretty sure our tree farm is making sticks for us over there. So we should be fine, but maybe we'll need that sooner than later. And then you are going to be a simple side config where your input output on the back with auto eject, right? And then we adjust our paper recipe to instead be this. Cool. Hello, friend. Mechanism upgrades. That is a very... The numbers are off because I get those as quest rewards sometimes. And yeah. So now we should be cool. And if we look down here, we should be powered up again. Because once we had enough books, we were good to go. All right, sweet. So now we can like throw our sword in there and be like, how would I make out? So I can get like a decent capturing. I can get knockback, knowledge of the ages. Looting, I got up to 7. So the trick with this, you have a chance to probably get looting 8 from things, or you know, if I extract 1, 2, 7s, I can combine them into looting 8 and then put it in here, and then now I can extract looting 8. Is that cool? And then sharpness, we got to 8 is what we got, right? So if we look, there's a sharpness 9. So same deal. 1, 2, combine them, put it back in, and now we've got, you know, sharpness 9 available to be extracted for 256 points. And basically, you probably already know this, but like we do the thing, and then we got sharpness 8. That's going to add to our 301 points. Sharpness 8 is 128 points. So when I do this, and we look now, we've got 429 points of sharpness. So enough to almost get 2 sharpnesses, which is cool, right? So that's pretty spiffy. So, you know, not too shabby. So let's look at this and see what I got, right? So capturing is kind of a fun one to have, so I'll snag it. I'm not going to like worry about making sure it's the best, right? I don't like fire aspect. I don't like knockback. Knowledge of the ages is cool if you want to get more experience, but I probably don't. So looting is obviously very nice at 8. Sharpness will definitely want. Scavenger, that will mobs killed may roll their loot tables twice. Pretty sure Scavenger level 3 is the best, so that's cool, right? Sharpness is obviously a good one. Soul looting is neat. Sweeping edge, I don't usually like that for some reason. I forget why, but I have like a reason I don't like it. So trust me on that, right? So then we can do like sharpness. It costs 9 experience, but look at my XP bar at the bottom. It doesn't go by 9 levels, right? Correct. So no need to do like the perfect have the right amount thing, right? It'll just do the thing. And that's a pretty awesome bit of stuff, right? And then I can come over here and like do similar things. Why you don't want to enchant? Oh, because you're already enchanted. Yes, obviously. right? And then we can do like 1, 2, 3. Didn't mean to do that level, but whatever. 4, right? And then we can insert those dudes. They will get processed. And then we repeat. And that's how I'm going to build up a bunch of good stuff, except for the fact that getting low on experience. So we'll want to be a little bit carefuler about my EXP usage. So like I'm getting trickles of it, right? Because like as mobs are dying over there, we're getting mob essence. And this'll just fill up my EXP a little bit at a time. So we just have to now be patient for more EXP. But that's it. Like enchanting done. I'm not gonna do too much more with that because I know I've done this before, and I want to make sure we're doing fun stuff. I think it's about time for time crystals. Wibbly wobbliness. So reminder, to make time crystal blocks, we're going to need to take our buddy, the tier 4 goo, so you have to wait until tier 4, over to either an existing time crystal, which clearly they don't exist yet because it's not part of World Gen. I've literally never made a mod. Not necessarily true. I did include World Gen in that Dire Goo mod that I made a while ago, but I've never really made a popular mod that actually took off in any meaningful way that included World Gen. Because World Gen is complicated. And basically, no thanks. So Shadow Pulse Goo with Budding Amethyst equals thing, right? Do we have access to a Amethyst Geode? Remind me. Do we know where one of those is? I know we have like a bunch of Geor things, but I don't know if Amethyst was on the list. Mansion. I don't remember what temp was all about. Do I still need temp? I'm feeling like no. This was just like far away in a spot that is still chunk loaded, to be fair. We should probably unload. And we should probably delete temp. I'm pretty sure that was just for like new World Gen mechanic. Like, oh, I needed a spot that was World Gen-y. All right, so let's go find a geode. So what we want is one of these, but without any customization. And hey, look. Oh, those are mine in the basement. That's funny though. It now occurs to me that apparently this can find all the types because it's finding all the types. It is not looking for just diamond or just redstone. It's finding all the types, which is interesting. Hello, Geode. Yeah, he fell. So then it's real easy, right? We're going to do this, and then we're going to give you some skulk. Okay. There you go. And then I can cut and paste gadget my way into making more of this. And then settings menu, come down one. And I don't care about your geode. And one more, just to be consistent. And look, we got crystals. Sweet. You already absorbed your energy. Cool. Quick refresher on how time crystals work. You cannot break them with a pickaxe no matter what. Silk touch or not, doesn't matter. You can move them with any moving mechanic. They start out green, like a darkish green. They look a little weird in this pack, but there's basically like this one is like kind of not active. And then you have to move them from one dimension to another to absorb time energy from all 3 dimensions. So overworld first, and they turn blue. Nether second, and they turn orange. And then end third, and they'll turn green, a bright green, which means they're ready to grow their crystals. And at that point, they can live wherever they want. But every time they get a crystal growth, which works just like amethyst and the other crystal growth type mechanics, right? Every time it grows, there's a chance, a small one, but not insignificant, that it will destabilize the time energy and need to start the process over again. So it'll grow, and then eventually it'll destabilize, it'll collapse. It's totally random, so there's no way to time it. It could be the very first tick growth, or it could be like 100 tick growths later. It doesn't matter. And what has to happen at that point is then it needs to be moved from the end back to the overworld and start over with the process. In fairness, you could let them stay in the overworld and grow until you know, they decay and then start move, to doesn't matter if you let them grow in the end or let them grow in the overworld. The point is that when they decay, you have to go overworld to end, or overworld to nether to end. And then, part of the nuance of just dire things is automating that. So right now, I will do it manually, right? We'll move this whole thing, and you don't need the thing in the middle no more. So like we can move that. But what we want to go to is neither one of these is like an ideal place. But I guess lava pump. And what we could have, let's see, F3G. Maybe what I'll do is plan for, how about right here? We'll do a platform. And you're going to be on surface mode, and you will be place on top, and you will ray trace fluids. And in that place, it will place this. I don't actually think we need place on top for surface mode. A max size of 15. And yes, that should be cool. Right? And then just to make sure it's a full chunk, we can horizontal wall that. Excuse me. Rude. Okay. And then this can be our place where we do the cool thing. Okay. And then we place this dude. And first off, we don't need none of you no more. Okay. So we can get rid of all that. And then for funsies, we can go ahead and cut this dude out of the way for a second. Just so I can get to the nugget in the center. And then we can backpack. Well, I'm going to need you again because I'm going to need to do something in the end in a minute. But you can be cut and paste. Cool. And then we're ready to cut this whole structure once these guys grow. And you can tick accelerate them, and we will. A great way to growth accelerate those is with the growth accelerators from Applied Energistics. And that's usually what I use. It just works really well. So we will be doing this. We will be doing the whole shebang. But step one, get a few crystals going. Right? And I don't really need my Shadow Pulse goo anymore. I think I'll just leave it in there. I mean, at some point I should automate it, because, yes, my mod. I should automate my mod. Get there when we get there. All right, let's come back in a minute once this stuff is converted. It's just like, it's random. It's random when it decays, and it's random when it grows. So you remember, like, when I placed it, 2 of them, like, immediately grew, and now, like, here we are a few minutes later. Yeah. All right, here goes nothing. Off to the end. So we can hit up end portal fluid. And again, we want to, like, have a whole dedicated area for this. So what I'd like to do, we could reuse the same chunk, but go vertically. That could be cool. I like that idea. How do we feel about that? So if we did something like, is that chunk aligned? Pretty close. The goal being obviously that we are completely aligned in the chunk. That was a little bit overboard, but that's okay. Is that cool? That seems pretty cool. And then just that. That was a little overboard again, but not a huge problem, right? So now we can keep both chunks chunk loaded. And that would be cool, right? And then we basically just trim this. And while we're waiting, we should probably plop this dude somewhere in here. Cool. Nice. And perfect. Perfectly chunk aligned. Beautiful. Okay, and now that they're a nice bright green, anyone who's bright green has a good chance to spawn a time crystal bud. And that looks cool when it happens, which hopefully it will at some point. And the trick here, obviously, is to make sure as many sides are available as possible. So we're overlapping a little bit. Definitely not ideal. Let's plan for that. So to plan for that, we'll basically want to have spacing that makes some semblance of sense, right? So if we did this, right, and then the amethyst on top, it can push to the right, and this one can push to the left, and we'll be cool, right? So that should be fine. And then 1, 2 gap, 1, 2 gap, 1, 2 gap, 1, 2 gap. And basically, we could have a time crystal on top of each one of these, and it would be cool, right? So we can do this, cut, and paste. Cut, and paste. Cut. And paste. And you get the idea. Now it's a little bit easier, especially because we're not going to need that many, to instead go with something like a little bit more compact. So usually what I'll do is like this many, and that should be sufficient. But then we can extend the pattern as we see fit. Right? So for you, we will cut and paste to here, and you can cut and paste to here. Cool. And then that will be, well, I might keep one of them. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just do this. Sweet. Cool. And then we can expand this with further crystals. You know, we can go make more and just bring them here for the next batch of 6. And 12 should be more than enough. Frankly, 12 is going to be a silly amount. You don't need that many time crystals. I probably, so when I built the time crystal system, I accounted for my mod tick accelerating. I did not account for growth accelerators. So if you spend time crystals to make more time crystals, it's probably still a little unbalanced, and I should still increase the cost of the time wand. But when you throw growth accelerators in there and other forms of tick accelerating random blocks, it just becomes super cheap. And I can't solve for that. Like I'm not gonna make the mod so impossible to use without applied energistics so that it's fair to use with applied energistics, if that makes sense. So, or other mods that do the same thing. So it's literally just going to be like mod pack makers get to decide. Okay, so like, yeah. But growth accelerators make this way easy, and I'll demonstrate that right now. So what we'll do is we'll do a flux point. Actually, I don't even need a flux. Well, I do need a flux point, but we'll get there. So let's do just dire things, energy transmitter. And this is the part where I regret not having my goo. Automated. Okay. And then I'm gonna have to go home to smelt that anyway, but we'll get there when we get there. But we definitely want at least one flux point. Can I get like 10 of you just so I have them for later use? Yes, thank you. Okay, real quick. Home. Smelt. Back. Okay. Energy transmitter. Good to go. And then your job will basically to be sit in front of here. Your area of effect will be this. Okay. And in fact, I'm going to want you to be sitting on top of this. But you're going to have an allow list of growth accelerators. That's the only thing you're allowed to do anything with, right? So you'll get a bunch of power. You'll stop sending energy because you're not actually sending energy anywhere until we throw down a growth accelerator, right? And then he should detect that that growth accelerator exists and do his thing. Assuming that I made it tall enough, which I didn't, so let's move the Y level down one. And then boom. Now he's growth accelerating, right? So it's really easy. And you might notice something about the size of this area and why I maybe chose to limit it the way I did, right? And we just heard one decay of a budding time crystal. It's funny how in this pack, I don't know, I feel like I was pretty good about differentiating like the dead crystals from the good crystals, but I cannot tell. That's definitely a not good one, right? And that's still a good one. But it's like really hard to tell. I'm wondering if like there's a custom texture pack or something that's changing how stuff works. Now here's the deal. Make sure that you only break fully grown ones because you get nothing from a partial crystal. It will 100% give you nothing. Okay. So only break fully grown crystals. Also, holding these in your inventory gives you a random chance to get either a speed up or a slowdown effect, just purposely messing with your field of view. Because Dyer always hates when his field of view gets messed with. So it's funny to me that it's basically a debuff that your FOV is changing. And it will also make you move slower and faster, depending on stuff, right? So I just got, yeah, like it's very hard. It messes with your time just having them in your inventory, but you can throw them in your backpack to be safe if you want. And as a reminder, in case you didn't know, there is a time protection upgrade that you can slot in your chest plate that will basically protect you from this exact debuff. Cool. Hooray. Time crystals. All right, now let's see. F3G. Oops. Yeah, that's all good. So this is the max range that an area of effect from just dire things can be. So my concern is that everything's a little bit offset by one. This is an unfortunate side effect of how numbers work. But technically, we lose this outer edge. And technically, we don't lose this outer edge. So realistically, if I wanted a swapper, which is what we're going to need here to cover this whole area, we're going to want to do that so that it encompasses this. And then if I decide to eventually get 6 more, when these swap, whatever crystals are hanging off the outer edge here would get lost. Which isn't the end of the world. You know. But it's a thing that happens. But that's probably how I'll handle that. And that should be cool. Okay? And yeah, that should be good. Right? And by the way, this only decays when something grows. So if it fills up all the way, then you don't have to worry about it decaying, because it'll never decay if it's full. All right, so that's Time Crystals 101. We're going to come back next episode. And by the way, you can turn off the particles if you don't want to see them. When we come back next episode, we're going to use just Dire Thing swappers along with breakers and some other things to ensure that these are automatically transmitted between dimensions as needed. We've done this build before. I think there's only one way to solve this problem, and it's with my mod, because I gave you the tools to solve this, and I don't know if there's like another mod's mechanics that I can use to do something similar. Basically, I gave you this really cool sensor block and this really cool swapper block, and when I was designing the time crystals, I was looking for A, a mechanic that I've never seen anybody do before, and B, a mechanic that you can use my blocks that I give you to automate. And I'm very proud of the time crystals, because like I feel like I definitely achieved that goal. My opinion. For now, I'll sign off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll come back next time and automate time crystals, because that's a fun little task, in my opinion. I enjoy it, but then again, I designed it, so I hope I enjoy it. For now, take it easy.